U.S. and the Philippines pushes is, freedom of navigation. Now you tell me a case in the last 50 years in which freedom of navigation was actually impeded.
No. This is a complete red herring.
It is complete.
But let's say China, for some reason, did this. That means that 80% of its imported oil would be cut off.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you want to kill yourself,
40% of its
Malacca,
export economy would be cut off.
Yeah.
So how, isn't it more of a threat? And that's why from the U.S. perspective, why do we have 5 layers of island chains, all right, surrounding China? Doesn't it sound more like we would create a blockade to prevent China from exporting, from importing, all right?
Yeah.
But that has changed, hasn't it? Let's talk about Russia. All of a sudden, I mean, in Washington, one of the greatest fears that we had was that Russia and Europe would get together. 13 time zones with unlimited resources, a huge bread basket, very small population, together with the manufacturing prowess of
Germany,
Europe, Germany, things. Game changer, right? We didn't want that.
No.
So after the fall of the Berlin Wall, rather than taking Putin up on his speech in the Bundestag, where he spoke in German, and he said, "I'm looking forward to my European home." 7 years later,
he wanted to join the NATO, right?
He wanted. That was subsequent, but he there had been promises made that NATO would not expand into things, and quite frankly, everyone thought that NATO would go away. It has no mission. It was there simply to oppose.
Promises were made time and again and again.
Yeah, but they weren't in writing. So Washington saying is that, we don't have to obey that because it wasn't in writing. Yet, in the same breath, the U.S. will go, China isn't following the spirit of the contracts that we've signed, or the WTO. So I mean, the hypocrisy. Actually, I look at it as something that is hurting the U.S. In the end, because so many people see it.
Credibility of the U.S. is really gone. But from another angle, from the Chinese angle, okay, how can you blame us for wanting to work hard, willingness to work hard?
Well, you shouldn't do that.
I'll place in the world.
That's not fair.
That's right.
You're out competing us. We believe in competition, but only if we win.
Win, yes.
Right?
That's right.
I mean, you understand that this is the premise. It wasn't.
There's another premise. You know what oligarchy
Oligarchs. Yeah, oligarchs.
is all about? It means between Europe and the U.S., we have a gentleman's agreement on competition. We make sure that all the big guys make a lot of money.
Oh, you're not talking about Big Pharma, are you?
Big
That's
Pharma,
right. For example, Big Pharma, the big mafioso. But you Chinese,
big military companies. That's why NATO is always still around. It's like
Well, you're just using a few isolated points here.
Visuals.
Come on, it's not like there's only 3 automobile makers. Okay, wait a second. Pharma. Cereals. Okay.
and agricultural products as well, even. But for the Chinese, they compete. They really believe in the free market system. And
the irony,
like crazy.
Well, but competition right now is becoming a problem. There is overcapacity in China, and it's
EVs and all that.
This is what I get a kick out of. You hear these stories about the Chinese government is subsidizing all of these industries, when in fact these industries are going out of business because of the brutal competition that is going on. And there are no subsidies. There are original subsidies to get people working in that direction. Science, just like the US does, just like Europe does.
What about the subsidy of the EU?
In agriculture and everything, and cars and everything.
Everything you can imagine.
But that's
agriculture, especially.
It's okay if we do it, but not when you do it.
Right.
Yes,
we do the good subsidy.
Yes.
When you do the subsidy, it's evil. it's anti everything we stand for. But this kind of hypocrisy is something. You look at the Sahel region in Africa. 5 countries basically got up and said, France, we're tired.
Yes.
We have gold, we have oil, we have resources, yet we have no food.
We have uranium.
We have uranium.
So you forced the francs upon us back then, right? And then took the resources
Well,
and then just left
Haiti.
it
Haiti.
Yeah.
Haiti was the second rebellion, the first one to slave rebellion.
Yep.
They get rid of the French.
Yep.
And the French said, okay, unless you pay us for the value of the slaves that you were, all right, you have to pay us the value of that to be free.
Yep.
Tell me how that works again. You were an enforced slave, then now you have to pay back the value of your slavery to your master.
Of myself, yes, yes.
This is freedom, right?
Yes.
And that has crippled the country. And now we're seeing the consequences of a country that was milked dry over these many, many years. I mean, it just ended a few years ago. And yet, where is France in trying to say, oh, well, we bear some responsibility, we need to put together an aid package, the billions of dollars that we took from this impoverished country need to be put into a situation that, does absolute crickets, silence.
But there are a lot of examples like this, like Bangladesh, the soil is completely ruined because it was used to grow opium by the British Empire to be sent to China. So, and like Bangladesh, and so that country, that's why you see constant floods and constant landslides and all that kind of stuff. It really just came from that. So but there are many examples of,
And that was the British colonial system.
Yeah.
It was all based on this, we discovered you, now we own you, and now we can take your resources with impunity, and you should thank us. I mean,
in the name of the Queen.
The Queen.
In the name of
You
Queen.
now belong to
the greater empire.
Yes.
And we gave you a great system, the legal system,
That's
right? And,
Well,
and the English language.
I was talking to somebody and I said, well, here's factually, before the British came, what is known as India today, which was a series of smaller kingdoms, was 24% of the world's GDP. And then after the British left, it was 4%.
Yep.
So I said to somebody, is what you sold, India worth 20% of global GDP? And they said, well, I don't think you should look at it that way. We organized them. He said, did you really? I mean, they were making 24% of the world's GDP. That sounds pretty organized to me, doesn't it?
You organized them into total collapse after independence too.
And a horrible partitioning.
The
The horrible
the
partitioning of the
partitioning,
organization,
millions of people died,
That's right.
butchered by each side, and where were the British?
Speaking of which, apparently the border region with China is now becoming quite heated too, with rebels.
Yeah, that's Myanmar.
Yeah.
Myanmar.
No,
Myanmar, in
India
India
too.
and the
Oh.
that
You're
area,
talking
like, on the Himalayas,
in the Maoist group that you're talking about.
Yeah, including a Maoist.
close to Nepal, right? Like next to Nepal,
Well, but I mean, this is the part people understand. China today is not that interested in the Maoist groups that are there. They're not. They call themselves Maoists, but that doesn't mean that they have a direct connection.
Only, yes.
Yeah, I mean, Chinese, and this is what I talk to people. They don't understand that Chinese governance has moved on, that it's dynamic, that it changes. They still have this idea that it's going back to the revolutionary times.
I have to say, what the Chinese have proven, the government and its people has proven, is let's have peace, stability, and development, and have more trade. Of course, the problem here is that in terms of trade, in terms of manufacturing, the Chinese position is so dominant,
that becomes
so
a problem.
incredible.
I love the statistics. China's manufacturing is equal to the next 9 countries combined.
Added together.
Okay.
Which is the same as the U.S. military.
Yes.
Equals to the same.
U.S. military equals 9 of the next countries combined.
Yes.
Actually, it's more than the 9.